Most businesses fail at Google Ads before they even start. Their budget is a lie. Let me prove this to you. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Google already knows your margins better than you do. With Google Analytics, ads data, and now AI, they've built a model of your business and your competitors too. And whether you like it or not, they know exactly how much you can afford to spend to win a customer. And that's where this brutal law in advertising comes in. On average, you're going to have to spend about 1/3 of your gross profit per sale just to acquire a customer or win a order. It's not a number that you pick, not a number that feels safe. The Google auction sets it and Google enforces it. And if you ignore this reality, your campaigns will never scale. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the real way to think about Google Ads budgets. Now, from the bottom up, tweaking bids and keywords, but from the top down strategically, because if you set your budgets wrong, nothing else matters. Now, as you know, I love sharing my passion for Google Ads, and in this series, I'm walking you step by step from the high level strategy all the way down into the technical detail of running profitable Google Ads campaigns. These are the lessons I've gained working with our team of 25 plus Google Ads specialists. And we've generated, as you know, I've told you so many times, over 1.5 billion in revenue for small business clients. We've got offices in California and in the UK, and you're sick and tired of me telling you this. But I love California. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and please drop me a comment below. It helps really to guide me in creating content like this. Anyway, let's on with this. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people treating marketing like engineering. You know I love engineering. In engineering, you can calculate everything. If you know the water flow, if you know the size of the pipe, the pump capacity, it all works out. You can work it out. Accounting's the same. It's all numbers and they all balance, or they don't rather. But in marketing, it isn't like that. Marketing is a creative exercise. Rory Sutherland goes on about it. It's messy, it's emotional, and it's why you just can't dump your entire budget into running the same campaigns over and over again. If you want to break through, if you want to really catapult the business forward, you've got to carve out some of that budget for creativity. So here's a framework I use. I think 70% of your budget should be dedicated to your normal campaigns. That's the one that runs day in and day out. 20% should be devoted to testing. Yes, new headlines, new images, new angles, because unless you test, you're never going to find that next breakthrough. And finally, I always say about 10% should be reserved for new product launches, maybe Black Friday's coming up, things outside the normal campaign cycle that need a budget to get some traction. The problem is most businesses don't do this. They spend 100% of their budget on what they know, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Believe me when I tell you, testing isn't optional. It's absolutely essential for your success. But here's another trap people fall into, thinking budgets are static. They're not. Virtually every business has seasonality. And you don't sell the same amount every month. Some months demand is up, others it drops. If you divide your yearly budget into 12 equal chunks, you'll either waste money in quiet months, or worse still, you'll starve your campaigns in peak months when customers are ready to buy. You know, like the late November, the Black Friday. Here's what to do instead. Plot your demand curve for the year. Use historical sales, use Google Analytics, Google Ads. And if you're new to this, go and have a look on the Google Trends website, and that will tell you a whole load about the seasonality in your industry. Work out the percentages for each month. Maybe 20% of your yearly sales happen in December, but maybe only 4% in February. Account for that. Balance your yearly budgets against the demand. If you've got, I don't know, let's say 120k, don't spend 10k every month. Spend maybe 24k in late November, December, and when demand is cold, maybe or low, maybe 5% in February. This way, you're aligning your spend with the real opportunity curves for your business and your market. Now, I know what you're thinking, but isn't everything data-driven now? Don't we have AI to optimize campaigns for us? Yeah, AI can crunch numbers and it can spot patterns and it can make some nice pictures, but here's the problem. Creativity cannot be pigeonholed into an algorithm. You don't get better ads by staring at the data. You get better ads by testing new creatives. Now you're beginning to see it. And far too often, businesses take, I don't know, say their 5,000 or 10,000 budget and they spend it on the same ads every month. And then they expect some transformation, some breakout, but that's not how it works. The data helps you measure, but it doesn't help you get the breakouts. You need creativity. And here's the deeper reason testing is non-negotiable. The human brain is just, as you know, it's wild and unpredictable. I'm a great fan of Martin Lundstrom. He's got a book, Biology. And he ran these extensive studies with brain scans, everything from those electrical little caps on your head with all the wires coming off to MRI scans. What he discovered was people often say one thing, but their brains start to light up in a different way when they're shown certain ads, people, products, or imagery. So what we verbally choose and communicate is not what our brain emotionally actually reacts to, that they're misaligned. And there's a great guy, Professor Peter Stevens, and he's got this book, I've got it here actually. That's it, A Path Through the Jungle. And it shows us why the primitive emotional side of our brain, the chimp, reacts first. When it sees something that interests it, it often triggers flight or fight style response. But effectively, because it works 20 times faster, it shuts off the human logical side of the brain while it deals with the situation. So by the time the thinking brain comes back online, the decision to buy something has already taken place and it's been shaped. That's why when you fall for a car, a new outfit, or when you cry in a film, you know it's not real, but that primitive brain of yours can't tell the difference. It takes over and you emotionally react and you cry. And it's only later on that the logical brain can rationalize it. And the thing about rationalizing it as well is it rationalizes it, but it isn't actually the answer for why you made the decision. It's not why you cried in the film. It's not why you love those shoes. It's not why you like those trainers. You love those trainers because everybody else will be jealous of you, and that's what the chimp likes. So when I say 20% of your budget must be devoted for testing, it's not a suggestion, it's essential. Because until you run enough different creatives, hooks and offers, you'll never discover what actually makes your audience's brains light up and react and press that buy button. Now, there's another complication. With Google Shopping, Performance Max, and or any of the new Google AI-driven campaigns, a large part of it is Google Shopping ads behind the scenes, which means that your price is always front and center. If your prices aren't competitive from the outset, you've already hit a roadblock. So you can have the best creatives in the world, but if your product looks overpriced next to competitors in the ad feed, the ad click is never going to happen. So just as a bit of a side there, we've got to make sure we're also competitive, because otherwise, if you could stick in just a high price, then you'd easily be able to come up with some creative that would justify it. But being able to create a product that demands a higher price that people are willing to pay for is an incredibly hard thing to do. So that's why budget strategy just isn't about how much you spend, it's about whether you've set yourself up to compete properly in the first place. I just wanted to talk a little bit about maybe hooks, offers, and landing pages. You know budgets are only part of the puzzle. To make Google Ads work, you really need three things. You're going to need a hook to grab their attention, and you're going to make an offer that people feel stupid about declining and refusing. It's what Alex Hormozi puts in his book, $100 Million Offers. But also, just because you've got a hook and an offer, you've got to make sure that the landing pages really sells your product. It type of says, here's a problem, we can solve it, we do A, B, C, D, and you deal with the objections in there as well. That's what you've actually got to do. But too often, I find clients just create these catalog pages. They just think, if I list it, they'll come and buy it. But it doesn't work like that. Go and look at any of the big brands like Target, or in the UK, go and look at AO and just see how much effort they put into selling a product. One of the ladies that used to work here, Taylor, she's gone off for work for a brand, I think it's called Get Me Cosmetics. Anyway, phenomenal site. Go and look at that. They've got influencers on there telling you about how great the product is. So they're really going to the next level of selling on that page. And I think too many people don't do that. Now, I've seen people claim that landing pages are dead and it's all about something called super fans. It's fine if you're into fashion, music, lifestyle, or you're selling maybe type of courses and you need people to sign up to subscribe. But let's be honest, if you're selling screws, you don't really have super fans. I'm not a big fan of Screw Fix over Tool Center. People just often want a good price and fast delivery, and that's why often you're competing against Amazon. So you've got to consider all these things. And with Google Ads, the challenge is even tougher because, as we said, the price is often visible. So you've got to work harder with your copy, with your offer, and your creative to justify why someone should click and buy from you. That's why you can't underestimate that 20% that you need to devote for testing creatives. So, not in the same outfit, I've changed, it's next day, I've learned there's a problem with iPhones, they can only go to 4 gigs. So let's continue with the video. Let's bring this all together. Google Ads budgets fail when you ignore these simple rules. There is a baseline. You need to expect to spend round about a third of your gross profit to acquire a customer or get a sale. Yes, it varies in very, very high margin businesses and very low margin businesses. In fact, in low margin businesses, it does struggle a bit more. But the allocation, once you've decided upon your budget, about 70% of it needs to go on proven campaigns that generate results month in, month out. Don't forget to put 20% on the testing. So you've got the testing and you've got 10% over here for new launches. Then think about your timing and scheduling. You must flex the budget month by month, align with your particular business's demand curve. And then, importantly, don't forget about the mindset. Stop treating marketing like engineering. It's not purely data-driven. It's human, it's emotional, and it's creative. If you type of respect these rules, the budget, the testing, the seasonality, oh, and don't forget pricing, and the creativity and psychology, then you give yourself a chance to find that breakout win that will transform your business. So before you spend another dollar or pound on Google Ads, ask yourself, is your budget realistic? Am I reserving enough for testing? Am I flexing with the seasonality? And do I have the creative firepower to stand out? Hopefully you found this useful. So as ever, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Don't forget to click the link below for a free review with one of the guys here from the team, and we can show you how you can apply this framework to your own business. Until next time, bye guys.